Hello YouTubers, thanks for checking out my channel. I hope you're doing pretty good. I'm staying pretty busy myself. Long story short, I'm going to keep this video as short as I possibly can. I have a little bit of a gearbox problem. If I stand over here and take the steering wheel and kind of do this and watch that front wheel, I got a little bit of a play, and if you listen for a minute there, you can hear that clunking sound. That is my gearbox. It needs an adjustment. Let me put the camera in there a little closer and listen to it. I'm going to have to go in here and adjust this gearbox. I want to show you how to do it. It's pretty easy to do. If you're a one-man band, one tip I will give you, if you have to get under there and you can't figure out what's going on, you don't have somebody here to help you shake the steering wheel, get you a string and take your steering wheel and kind of turn it sideways, or a piece of plastic, rope, whatever. And when you lay up under here like this, you can actually pull in this string like this, and you can get over here and get in there and listen and try to figure out where your noise is. So that's one little tip there I'll share with you. I'm going to try to do this on my cell phone because my big camera's down right now after shooting the video on this the other day. I replaced all the gaskets, the intake gaskets and all that, and I got rid of my PO420 code that a lot of people have issues with, PO420 and PO430. That video right now I'm editing, and hopefully it'll be up here in the next couple of days. My gearbox sits down in here. On a lot of vehicles you can get to it pretty easy, but for me, I went ahead and took the air cleaner out. It's sitting right there. And I'm going to take this plastic shroud out and take this fan out because I've had this off before. And once you get all this off, I got all this room down here and we can look at that gearbox. But this is what we're going to be doing today. It's pretty easy to do, and I'm going to show you some steps here, how to go in here and change this on your vehicle. Now, if I hold the camera right about here, here is a linkage that goes down to the gearbox. I can turn this with my hand like this and listen to this. And the gearbox is actually right about there. It's buried under that big hose. I think you can hear it. And that's the noise, that's where the noise is coming from. And I have just a little bit of play in that gearbox that I want to take out. So let me go over here one more time. And if I just barely turn that steering wheel, the wheel isn't moving, but if I turn it a little more, you can see it kind of move. So this is what we're going to be doing today. Okay, now one thing we got to talk about real quick is before you do this adjustment, make sure that you have good upper and lower ball joints. Make sure that you have your drag link is pretty good shape. Get under there and verify that all your components are okay, because if you have a bad tie rod in, an upper ball joint, or anything like that, that could cause you some issues. Just verify that noise is not coming from somewhere else. There's my gearbox. Make sure it's coming from your gearbox before you go under there and do any adjustments, because that will save you a lot of time, because you can still adjust this gearbox up a little bit, tighten it up, and get it in really good shape. But if you have a ball joint that's bad, when you hit a hole or something, you'll still get a bit of a clunking noise or something, and you might still think you've got issues with your gearbox, but in fact, it's actually with maybe an upper tie rod, an upper ball joint, lower ball joint, or even some other steering components under there. And also, make sure you check your bearings, because a lot of times your wheel bearings can be bad, and you can get some clunking noises from there. But the dead giveaway is just stand here, take your hand on your steering wheel, turn it a little bit, and watch that wheel, and see if it moves like it should. There should be absolutely no play in that wheel when you sit here, or stand here I should say, and turn that steering wheel. Alright, so let's go ahead and get to it here and see if we can get this adjusted up. Alright, my friends, I got the fan, the shroud, the cover, and the air cleaner off on the vehicle. Makes it a lot easier to get in here, and the beauty is I have all this extra room. I know it looks like a lot, but it's not. It's pretty easy to do. And you might have to take some stuff out of your engine bay, maybe an air cleaner or whatever. Just try to figure out where your gearbox is, your power steering gearbox is, and figure out what you need to do. And the beauty here is, look at all this room I have. I have lots and lots of room to get in here. And right here is our gearbox, power steering gearbox that we're going to get into. And try to fix. Now I'm going to drop my camera down, and it may take just a little time for it to adjust and focus because it's a little dark and gray out here today. And you see this nut on the bottom here. We got to break this loose. And you see this stud? Well, this is where we stick an Allen socket on. We turn this clockwise and we actually tighten up those gears. But before we do that, we have to break this nut loose, and we got to get some marking paint, which I have right here. And this stuff is great. I go to the dollar store and pick this stuff up, and it's great to mark things for points of references and all that. So make sure you have some of that. And I apologize for the fire trucks. I live in a town of 3,000, and you wouldn't believe the stuff that goes on here all the time. It's just nonstop. And here is the linkage, the steering gear of the steering. Let me get my hand in here. The rod that goes down to the gearbox. Now, if I turn this, you can actually see the play. And if I slowly turn it, right there is where the play is. If you listen closely, you can hear it in the gearbox. And there's the pitman arm, and it's not really turning at all. So we're going to do some adjustments here and take this slop out and hopefully make it pretty good again. At least get rid of the noise and get rid of the play, and to make it feel a lot better. So let's go ahead and mark this the stud bolt up with some marking paint, and also go ahead and put some paint on that nut there, and we'll go ahead and break this free. Oh, and by the way, this is only 99 cents at the dollar store. So yeah, call me cheap, but you know what? I save a lot of money. Okay, now I'll drop the camera down slowly, and there's all the marks, and you can see I've got the nut pretty much adjusted right there. I get the camera light just right, so I know where that nut should go. And on the top, I put a little bit of paint on this stud where the Allen socket will go in. And the point for that is right there on the bottom. That is the reference point for that. It might do a little bit of a better justice if I turn the camera like this, and you can look at it straight down. There we go. That's better. So now we're going to go ahead and break this loose, and I need to get a 16 socket on this nut, and I'm going to have to get an Allen socket on this, and I'm going to hold that, and we're going to break this nut loose. So let me go get that set up for you. Okay, so we're all set up here, and you can see my marks are all set, and I've got my Allen wrench here. This is going to be a 5, let me grab this, this is going to be a 3/16 Allen wrench. I'm using a socket, and you can get the regular sockets that have holes in them. I forget what they call them, and you can drop an Allen wrench down through it, but I have this kind of resting up against the bottom of the radiator support, so when I break this nut loose, here it shouldn't be no problem. So I'm going to take my wrench, and this is a 16. Go ahead and break this nut loose. All right, we'll back it off maybe, I don't know, a half a turn to a turn. Like that. And I'm hoping the light stays sufficient enough for you guys. All right, so we got that backed off, and you can see the top nut there. Still has a paint mark on it. It's exactly where I want it. And now we can just go ahead and we can start turning this a little bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn this a quarter of a turn. Well, actually, no, I'm going to go an 1/8 first and see, because you really shouldn't go any more than an 1/8 at first to make sure that it's going to work okay. So here we go. I'll use in one hand and turn it with the other. So we'll go ahead and turn this at 1/8. Right there, and so everything looks, that's about an 1/8. So let's go inside, and now check our steering and see what it feels like, and see if this slowly takes the play out of the steering wheel. All right, we'll rock it a little bit, and yeah, that little bit helped. Now you should not really go any more than a quarter of a turn the first time. I always do it in 1/8. Because you don't want to over tighten, because you have to get it just right. So these gears in here, they will start to wear on. They'll wear a new pattern. Is what they do. And now we'll go ahead and we'll turn it a little bit more. We'll do another 1/8. And we're using one hand here and holding the camera with the other. And there is a quarter of a turn. and you can see the paint mark on the top of the stud right there. It's in the 12 o'clock position. It started out at 9, so now it's at 12. Now let's go inside and see if that helped it. Now if you have to go any more than a half a turn, you're probably going to have gearbox issues. It's probably not really worth trying to do too much more to it. You probably have to replace it soon. It's probably worn down beyond adjustment, and that has really helped quite a bit. And I can see that wheel moving now. That is great. So we are, let's see, that is a quarter of a turn. You know what? I am going to go an eighth more, and that is it. I'm not going to go any more than that, because like I said, more than a half inch could cause problems. Alright, so what we'll do is go ahead and turn this just a little bit more, and you can see where the paint mark is about 11 o'clock now. So we're going to turn this about a eighth more turn, and that should bring us up to about 1 o'clock. So we started at 9, so there is 12, there is 1 o'clock, and I think I'm going to like that right there. I think that's going to be a really good setting. Alright. And let's go inside and shake that steering wheel and see what we got. Oh yeah, that's a big difference. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. And that's all there is to it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with trying to adjust your gearbox. Just don't over tighten it, and make sure when you're done you tighten this up sufficiently so you don't have any problems down the road when it comes loose. So now all I have to do is go ahead and hold this center nut with the Allen wrench and the Allen socket, and tighten this bottom nut up and tighten it back up to where that white mark is, and we are done, my friend. Okay, my friends, so that is tight, and there is the mark right there. You can see they're on top of each other. That nut is right where it started before I took it apart, and the center nut that had the Allen wrench on it, it's about 1 o'clock. It started out at 9, and now it's up here about 1 o'clock, and that gives me a really good adjustment on my gearbox. So looks like we're just about done here. Let me go over here and just do one more adjustment. I mean, shake the wheel, I should say. Oh yeah, that really helped. So I shouldn't have any issues with that at all. So there you go. Like I said, this wasn't a perfect video, but I wanted to give you guys some idea. If you have a lot of play in your steering wheel, check your gearbox, because this is not uncommon. This happens to all types of vehicles, and that's what that adjustment screw there is for. So I hope this video helps you out. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them, and all that good stuff. But make sure you get that nice and tight, and that's about it. So looks like I'm about done out here, because it looks like it's going to rain, and I just want to show you guys how to do that. So I'm pretty happy I have all new components on the front of my vehicle. The steering box is pretty much tight, and I shouldn't have any more problems with it. So thanks for watching, guys, and until my next video, hey, see you guys later, and thanks for watching.